the field. Touchdown, New England!
And New England will be receiving the kick. Ravens, Patriots, AFC Championship game. Baltimore actually won the toss and deferred, as they do every time they win the toss. And you heard from Steve, the weather is going to be a factor, specifically the wind gusts.
Well, it's going to affect the throwers and catchers, no doubt, and the kicking game. But the big thing is it could change what the coaches do, how they manage the game, and whether to go for a long field goal or not.
Of course, you've got two of the strongest armed quarterbacks in the game here. And already the ball's come off the tee for the rookie kicker, Tucker, who booted them past Denver last week. He's had 3 game-winning kicks in a remarkable rookie season. Young man out of the University of Texas. One of the wins, in fact, was back September 23rd when he hit the winner with no time left against New England. 31-30 Baltimore victory. McCourty is back deep along with Slater. They've got 2 deep. And we're underway for the AFC Championship. And this ball's going almost into the stands. That was downwind, so Brady goes into the wind against this Baltimore bunch. Again, now his 7th appearance ever in the AFC Championship game, trying to become the first quarterback to ever start in 6 Super Bowls, if he can get past Baltimore today. Here's his line. The 2 young tackles sold on that left side. Should see a lot of Suggs today. And Hernandez will be the tight end with plenty of action, you have to think. Gronkowski, of course, re-injuring the forearm last week, breaking it again, and done for the season. Welker shifts out of the backfield. Ridley gets the start and the first handle, and he hops ahead for about 5. Kruger slams him down, as well as Nata. Now this Baltimore defense, it's certainly gotten stronger here come playoff time. There's Nata as the Patriots hurry to the line. Lewis and Suggs both battling injuries to get back onto the field come playoff time. Suggs joined midseason. Brady on 2nd down, finds Hernandez for the first, and a pickup of 10, running away from Ellerby.
You heard Solomon Wilcots talk about it early in the pregame, that the hurry-up offense, can you line your defense up, get in position, and recognize the formation?
1st and 10 again. First down running play for Ridley, and they give him 3. So Brady and the Patriots showing that no huddle early, something Baltimore felt very comfortable with going into this game.
Everybody feels comfortable with the gym, but when you see it in person, the speed of it, you just can't duplicate it in practice. But the Ravens don't do a lot on defense. They can just stand there and wait. Ray Lewis should be able to get them in the right defense.
2nd and 7, double tight end. Not only Hernandez, but Ho'omanawanui. We will see more action, of course, with Gronkowski out for the year. 2nd and 7 running play back to Ridley. And Ridley is caught by the neck by Ellerby. Ran behind Ho'omanawanui, picks up 5.
You know, Jim, one of the big differences when you see this hurry-up offense against so many defenses, the players are always looking for to the sideline. Coach, what should we call? That should not be a problem, like I said, for the Ravens, because Ray Lewis can make the call, and so can Ed Reed.
Patriots in a 3rd down situation here. 3rd and 2. And Brady, the throw. Goes down the field for Welker, stretched it out and couldn't quite get it. He got past Corey Graham. He had a step on Graham.
He sure did. Tom Brady was looking to throw this football short to the crosser, Hernandez. He's covered. Great protection. Good job of stepping up. And you see all the way across the field against Corey Graham. So Corey Graham was expecting the football to be thrown quick. It's not. Wes Welker runs through the coverage, but the wind made the football just off the target.
Look at Ryan Mallett, number 15, as the up back. This is not the usual lineup here, and they shift in. In fact, Mallett, the backup quarterback, comes under center. It's usually Patrick Chung in on that punt team, and this forces the Ravens to call a timeout. So, Mallett forcing the Ravens to call time. And the Patriots are back in traditional punt formation, and Chung is the up back there, Zoltan Mesko. They have not run a successful fake punt, the Patriots, since 1999. Mesko had a big game last week against Houston. Left-footed booter. Drives back, Jacoby Jones, who makes the fair catch at the 13. 45-yard punt.
Well, Jim, let's go back to that fourth down. Ryan Ballett, the backup quarterback, number 15, comes into the game, and he catches the Ravens by surprise. Would they run a play in this situation? I don't think so. It was a little too far to run an off tackle, but they got to see how the Ravens lined up in case they do want to run something like that later in the game. But more importantly, if nothing else, they got the Ravens to use a timeout.
So that Ravens defense allows one first down and then forces the punt. And now Flacco and the Baltimore offense with Ray Rice taking off the right side for a couple. Into the arms of Brandon Spikes. Flacco had a huge game here in the title game last year, over 300 and a couple of touchdowns. Then threw for 382 back in September against New England, and 3 more scores. Matt Burke, the 15-year man out of Harvard, the center. Possible retirement at the end of this year for the longtime big contributor. And Smith had 2 touchdowns against New England in that Week 3 matchup. 2nd and 8, and it's Rice again. And once more, Spikes has a tackle. Give him 3 more, 3rd and 5 on the way.
A lot of stories to look at in this game. One, the offensive line for the Ravens. They changed it up for the first playoff game 2 weeks ago against the Colts, and they played very well the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's worked really well with McKinney at left tackle, shifting Orr over to the right side, and Osemele to left guard. Of course, Yanda is one of the better guards in pro football, number 73. 3rd, we'll call it 4. And Flacco throws it over and let him too much, but it was going to be defended anyway. And Dennard tries to make the appeal for a backwards pass, no chance.
Defense is aggressive. They're going to challenge these wide receivers. Even if it's completed, there's nowhere to go. But that just shows you something. Even on little swing passes, because of the breeze, you got to be sharp and crisp. You can't lob the football.
Sam Cook in to punt. Had both his regular season gross and net average career bests. Almost 47 yards of punt. Didn't catch this one. Downwind. Gets the generous hop. The flag is out. Gets past David Reed. That's Welker running it. And then Reed comes back to knock him down at the 44. Bill Levy is today's referee. That was a 51-yard punt. So Albert McClellan and Tracy White disagreeing over matters.
During the return, holding, number 25 receiving team, penalties decline. Holding, number 31 of the receiving team, that penalty will be accepted 10 yards from the end of the kick. First down, timeout.
Both Chung and Talib flag for holding. And each team's had 1 possession.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Dr. Pepper and Diet Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind. And by TD Ameritrade.
The holding penalty on the special teams. New England sets them back to the 21 for their second series. Fake to Ridley this time, and the pass to Lloyd. Makes a nice diving catch at the 29 and gains 8. Lloyd, who had 9 catches in the first matchup with Baltimore, was over 100 yards.
Brandon Lloyd really plays, I think, a tough position on this football team with the tight ends and Wes Welker. Where do you fit in the passing game? Good to get him involved early.
3 tight ends. Ridley tripped up and falls near the first. That'll be enough, in fact, to move the chains.
When you talk about this Baltimore defense, just a couple of things. Like I said, they don't move around a lot like some teams do against the New England Patriots. They're not going to chase a tight end outside or a running back. They stand there a lot of times, but they want to make Tom Brady throw the football down the field and outside. Try to take away all those short passes over the middle.
4 wides on first down, and Brady fires it to Hernandez. He's able to wiggle past Pollard and pick up another 8. Now last week New England opened the game with Danny Woodhead. He got injured early, and here's Hernandez.
Well, it's good coverage. Another pass to the inside. It's always a good theory that you're going to stop it, but they're so good at it. And so many things can go wrong. I played quarterback in the NFL. When you throw short passes over the middle, defensive linemen can tip it, defenders can miss it, and if you're just off target, it gets kicked up in the air and it can be intercepted. The Patriots have mastered it.
2nd and 2. And back to the other side, and Walker trying to come back for it. Don't miss CBS Sports online streaming of the Super Bowl with never-before-seen camera angles and immediate access to all of the commercials. Get it all. CBSSports.com/Super Bowl.
Well, there was that guy, Jim, that you say his name a lot for the Ravens, Paul Kruger. He stopped the screenplay to the outside to Wes Welker. They had it set up pretty well, but pressure on Tom Brady ruined it.
Now Woodhead comes in on 3rd and 2. Second time now they face 3rd and 2 from virtually the same point of the field. Brady, the time steps up, and what a jarring hit, but holding on for it is Lloyd. He was walloped by Ed Reed, but able to wrap it up for 14 yards and a first.
Watch the receivers crossing in the middle. They're both covered well, so Tom Brady knows if you cover the crossers, the end cut behind, a very staple of their offense. They run that all the time, and an excellent throw by Tom Brady.
Hernandez in the backfield, as is Woodhead. Brady down the sideline, and that's covered. That was Kerry Williams staying right with him.
Well, it's a good job. When you see Aaron Hernandez in the backfield, you know he's not back there to be Tom Brady's personal protector. So you always, when they put Wes Welker, any of those guys in the backfield, look out. They took away the short plays. Donnell Ellerbe, who was, along with Ray Lewis, they were spectacular last week against the Denver Broncos.
2nd and 10. Good pass back to Hernandez. Able to slip through the first tackle and get near another first.
Well, when you get skilled players, get them out in space, you get them going, you send Wes Welker in motion, the defense doesn't react quick enough, and how about a job by Aaron Hernandez? And that's what it takes to be a good screen thrower in the NFL for a quarterback. You got to be able to change the angles on your arm. Tom Brady can do it pretty well.
Well, Shockey Brown had a play on him right away, but Hernandez got right past him, gained 11. First down from the 37, and Ridley able to pick up just a yard out of that. Suggs credited with that tackle.
Well, you know, Jim, the defense, I mean, the Patriots offense, they make you think so much. And that's the big problem. They're going to beat you physically, but they're going to try to beat you mentally, too.
Didn't take long to get to this snap. 2nd and 9, and again they benefit by the hurry up. Down to the 20 with Brandon Lloyd and 16 more.
Nice play action fake. They love to run the football in the hurry-ups. And now you know the defense you see, you're going to get one-on-one coverage outside. They weren't ready.
And Ridley into the arms of Kruger. Give him 2. Ridley had a big second half against the Houston Texans last week, but really he was the 3rd back into that game after Woodhead and after Shane Vereen, who had a monster game with 3 touchdowns. We haven't seen Vereen to this point. 2nd and 8. They do go into round with Hernandez. Welker sticks a block up ahead, and Hernandez is down at the 12. Reed and Graham finished it off after a gain of 6.
Yeah, it's the pace of play. You know, we never talk about it. You run a hurry-up offense. Think how hard it is on the offensive lineman. No fat guys on that offensive line.
Ridley, this time tripped up right away by Corey Graham, who snuck up there and got into the backfield.
That was an excellent job. They crashed the middle that time from the outside. The Ravens think they have all the keys to that hurry-up offense by Tom Brady. They say we know all the code words, we know what they mean. Now, can we hear them and still make the play? That's another story.
That was a big third down stop by Corey Graham, so out comes Gostowski.
Corey Graham, excellent blitzer from the outside.
31 yards. Mesko on the hold, and Gostowski boots it through, and New England's first on the board here. And that's 32 straight red zone trips that have resulted in scores for the Patriots. They put up 3. That was 13 plays in a little over 5 minutes. We've barely seen the Baltimore offense out here to this point. And Jacoby Jones, who had 3 returns for touchdowns this year, of course, caught the Rocky Mountain Rainbow last week. Steps up to the 11. And he's brought down by Arrington near the 26. A flag is out.
Come on, Tony.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 56 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty.
The Ravens will start inside the 20.
Timeout.
They've had only 3 snaps so far. Down 3 first quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Bud Light Sports Fan app. Download the app today. And by Identity Thief, from the director of Horrible Bosses and the producer of Ted, in theaters this February.
Patriot owner Robert Kraft tailgating before the game. Joined today to his right by Leslie Mundus, the president and CEO of CBS, and you circled the Gronk. Rob Gronkowski sitting behind the owner. 1st and 10 for Baltimore, and it's Bonte Leach. Baltimore has its first down as Leach is able to take it out to the 27.
That's what you need. I was getting ready to say Jim Caldwell, the offensive coordinator now for the Ravens. You need to get a drive starter out there. And one weakness you see in the Patriots defense, they will cover people down the field and let the backs and tight ends go out in the flat and be wide open.
So a gain of 17. Camden Doss is in the game, lined up on the near side, and Rice into the arms of Justin Francis. Now this New England defense in that first meeting gave up 503 yards. That's the most any opponent had against the New England defense. Ninkovich always, of course, very active. 5 forced fumbles on the year. Mayo, their top tackler. You got to look for Talib in some of these matchups today against Bolden. Also in that first matchup, they never sacked Flacco one time. Second and 8. And he's going for the deep ball. And Talib was there with the coverage on Bolden. And that's a matchup to watch today.
Yeah, it is a matchup to watch. Throwing it deep down the field. We talked to Aqib Talib, and all he kept saying, stay on top. And I said, what do you mean stay on top? What does that mean for a defensive back? Don't let him get behind you. That's all that it means. Play it safe. Make him throw it short and to the outside, but don't give him those long throws down the field.
It is a big play offense. As evidenced last week, not only, of course, the amazing pass to Jones, but the 2 touchdown throws to Torrey Smith. 3rd down and 8.
All start. Number 27 offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That'll make it 3rd and 13.
Ray Rice kept them in their stances a little long. He saw those offensive linemen all making signals, and sometimes it even gets me. I think that's a false start, and maybe that is what made him move.
Need to get to the 37 for a first. Flacco goes underneath, and it's knocked down by Talib. Again, he was manned up on Anquan Bolden, and Talib makes the play.
That's the matchup coming across the field. Aqib Talib does start limping after he knocks this play down, but a lot of people thought maybe he would cover Torrey Smith. No, put Talib, a big defender, on the big receiver, and Dennard, a small, quick guy, on Torrey Smith.
He grabbed his right hamstring as he hopped to the sideline. And here's Cook for the second time. And it's a good one. Driving Welker to the 20. And Welker with a 12-yard run back before he somersaults out of bounds. Anthony Allen finished him off. 55-yard punt. Ball back to New England, up 3-0. Aqib Talib heads to the New England locker room after defending that last pass play, and it looked like he tweaked the hamstring. First down for the New England Patriots from the 33. And that's Shane Vereen. There he is for the first time. He picks up 7. And as Tom Brady said, it was just a huge growing up moment for him. Brady talking about Shane Vereen last week against Houston.
Yep, Danny Woodhead went down with a thumb injury. Shane Vereen comes in. All he did was score 3 touchdowns.
And 124 yards of total offense. Shifts, tries to get outside, but Nata would not allow it. Holds him to 1.
I know a lot of people, you think, you look at this Baltimore defense, they've played 87 plays the last 2 weeks. They just were on the field for a 13-play drive. Will they wear out? What did Ray Lewis say when we asked him that question?
He said that only prepares us for Tom Brady.
That's right. He goes, the more plays we're out there, we get in a groove, and there is something to that.
3rd down and 2.
Experience you get from watching should make you better.
And Woodhead offset to Brady's left. Brady's pass in traffic is caught. There is a flag down. Hernandez somehow caught it.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 52 of the defense.
Call on Lewis.
Contact. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, first off, it looks like Jimmy Smith misses the football to get the interception. Then Ray Lewis comes in, attacking the play, lowers his shoulder, and
it's right on the crown.
yeah,
crown
it
to
is.
crown.
And they're saying Aaron Hernandez did not have time enough to protect himself, and he does it. 2 feet on the ground, no time elapses. That's why it's a personal foul.
You're right, that ball did look like it had a strong chance to be picked. Now with the penalty, New England's already back at the Baltimore 36. The fake, the throw, and incomplete. Kruger was reaching up for it, and that's why Brady had to throw it so high.
Well, twice they've run these misdirections and throwbacks to the other side. Tom Brady, again, hit. Makes him throw it a little quicker than he wants by Arthur Jones, and Kruger jumping up in the air.
You're talking about all those plays, 87 plays the last 2 weeks, only twice in NFL postseason history has a team won a game in which their opponent ran 87 plays. And that's each of the last 2 weeks. As Pollard drags down Vereen. And a gain of 2. Tonight after the game, don't miss a special new episode of Hawaii 5-0. Tonight, only CBS. Now they're going into the win in this first quarter, and already the Patriots have 107 yards of offense.
I know. I saw them practicing on Friday. They were going through these situations knowing that it was going to be windy on Sunday. So Tom Brady could have been told in his helmet already, look, 2-down territory, don't take a sack.
3rd down from the 35, and incomplete this time as Lloyd dove for it.
Let's see what they do. There's hesitation on the sideline. Scotty O'Brien, the special teams coach, and they send out the punting or the kicking unit.
And they bring out Mesco. And just too long for a 53-yard field goal in these gusty conditions.
You're right. We saw it up here, last week in the playoff game, Jim, what the wind can do. It is definitely into their face and going to the left of the offense.
Ed Reed is back, standing at the 10. He unwisely fielded a punt last week at the 6 in overtime. makes the fair catch at the 7 on this occasion. 27-yard punt. Mesko gets it done. Pins him at the 7. Next, Sunday kickoff Super Bowl week with the NFL Pro Bowl presented by McDonald's. For more information, visit NFL.com/Pro Bowl.
Great start for the Baltimore defense, wouldn't you say so? Going against this offense, especially when they're in this stadium, they have the hurry up and all the other factors for what they do. To hold them to 3 points on the first 3 drives, you got to be excited if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan.
But meanwhile, the Ravens offense now with its 3rd drive, they've started the 13, the 10, and now the 8. Terrible field position. It's Pierce getting them out of that jam as he races up to the 20. The rookie running back out of Temple for 11.
What's the name you have not said so far today? I don't think you have, Jim. I listened to you closely, but we haven't heard the name Vince Wilfork. And the Patriots do a good job of moving him all around the defensive line so he can't be double teamed.
First down, back to Pierce again. And trying to get through a tiny crease, picks up 3. He's been an X factor this last month for the Ravens.
No
Rushed
question.
for over 100 against the Colts in the wild card game. Had 123 against the Giants in Week 16.
Well, Wilbert Montgomery, the running back coach, says that people underestimate his power and his speed. They take angles and they miss him because he runs past them a lot quicker than they thought.
2nd and 7. The fake that Wentz is turned around and incomplete as Flacco was trying to hit Ed Dixon.
A little misdirection by this offense. Move the quarterback around. That's what you want to do so the defense just can't zero in and get those and push the pocket and get on him in passing situations. That's a play you think that Ed Dixon should make, though.
Well, he had a gimme if he wanted to go with the short man. That was Pittup. Flacco is 1 for 5 here in the first quarter. Talib is out, by the way. Arrington in for him on 3rd and 7. And Flacco lobs it, and Pittup can't quite get to it.
They had what they wanted. They had Pitta against Gregory, the safety, and it's a little move out of the backfield, just goes right up the sideline, and you see Gregory is coming in to play the short route. That's why be more accurate with the football.
3 drives and 3 punts. Cook. Welker retreating to the 19. Got an alley. Welker still going. Welker outside and tripped up at the 45. Just barely getting to him was McClellan. 59-yard boot. 28-yard return. McClellan right there may have saved something big.
Yeah, it makes it tough, I think, on the punt coverage team. Boy, it's a nice move by Wes Welker. That little redirect through the whole coverage off balance. But when you punt it right down the middle of the field, Jim, and especially when it's far, now there's a 2-way goal for that punt returner.
Was last week, Trendon Holiday exposed the special teams of the Ravens on 2 occasions. 1 punt, 1 kick return. As Brady, look at that block right there by Wendell. Brady now is able to just get it away in time.
Yeah, it's going to could be grounding the football.
Wendell was holding his block against Suggs for the longest time.
He was out of the pocket.
Intentional grounding. The ball got docked to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, the ball went past a couple of yards past the line of scrimmage.
The fact that he was out of the pocket and he did get it past the line of scrimmage.
Remember, the line of scrimmage is the 47.
Yep. He's definitely going to break the pocket when he goes outside.
And the ball lands, maybe at the 48, 49. So they pick up the flag, 2nd and 10.
Louis, all right.
Turns it upfield and back on the Baltimore side of the field. Gain of 8. Tomorrow on CBS, Go for Broke. It's a new episode of Two Broke Girls you won't want to miss. Tomorrow on CBS, America's #1 network.
Good example that last play, wasn't it? Throw it short. These guys, all of them have caught so many passes to receivers. They can catch it and turn up the field and get that 2 or 3 extra yards to put them in a good situation now.
3rd and 2. And batted away and almost into the arms of Kruger. That was Kerry Williams who deflected it. And then Kruger on the rebound almost had the pick.
Kerry Williams looked to the left side of the screen. He is not afraid to get in there and compete against the run. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it went that far until I saw the replay. But that was a cleaned defense. A defended pass by Kerry Williams.
Yeah, knocking it away from Brandon Lloyd. That rebounded as far as Jack Tatum's to Frenchie Fuqua. Again, Pesco, as New England continues to control this little chess match of field position. Fair catch by Reed at the 10. 35-yard boot. Let's go down to Steve Tasker.
Well, Aqib Talib went into the locker room. He has a thigh injury. His return is questionable. He remains in the locker room. Now, the medical attendant that was with him, the doctor, did come out immediately after they went in, but Aqib Talib remains in the locker room. His return is questionable with a thigh injury.
And you keep saying, Phil, thank you, Steve, that's big.
Well, it is, because they had him matched up against Anquan Bolden, and they were thinking now we can shift the defense over the secondary against Torrey Smith.
They got Arrington on Smith, 1st and 10, and Rice tries to get into a second gear, but is met quickly by Hightower.
Well, this game does not look like the first one today, does it?
Well, we opened up by saying same time, same place. It is actually the same score as a year ago after one quarter. 3-0 New England here at the AFC Championship game. And here's a look at our nationwide insurance Skycam. Jim Nance and Phil Simms along with Solomon Wilcox and Steve Tasker. Baltimore breaks huddle here to start the second quarter, facing 2nd and 7. Flacco flips it over. Ball comes out after the catch by Leach. And they'll spot him out at about the 15.
Joe Flacco was looking down the field for Anquan Bolden. He was covered. Vontae Leach, just a tremendous run blocker. Does have good hands. Football, it is a catch, knocked out of his hands, and you mark it where it goes out of bounds because it went backwards.
And it's a gain of 3 overall. Looking for a first conversion on 3rd down. Flacco, and is open, he finds it, hit up. And the Ravens are out to the 34. And a pickup of 18.
Joe Flacco was trying to throw it to his right. Watch Torrey Smith. Dennard just completely stones him at the line of scrimmage. He can't get off. And because he's watching up top to the right, the defense moved. That's why Pettit was wide open.
On 1st down, Rice. An early hit on him by Marquise Cole. Holds him to 2. Ray Rice. He was over 100 against New England back in September. Had 131 last week against Denver, and they thought they would have a chance to run the football on New England today.
Oh, they really did. And Ray Rice, I heard it on TV quite a few times this morning, but it's true. He's small, behind a huge offensive line. Hard to find sometimes.
2nd and 8. Flacco waits, now finds Rice. Spikes is there, and Spikes drags him down, but not until Baltimore once again picks up a 1st down.
Something that's really showing here early in this game. Watch Joe Flacco. The coverage is excellent down the field, but because of all that extra time, now you get the matchup you want. Ray Rice against the middle linebacker, Brandon Spikes. Kyle Arrington comes in for Aqib Talib. Torrey Smith, not even close.
They have not so far had a reception by a wide receiver. That's out to the 49. Rice again. Coach Harbaugh and these Ravens came in here and won back in 2009 in the wild card round, eliminating New England. And Rice, of course, had that electrifying first play 83-yard touchdown run, which is his career long. It's the second longest touchdown run in NFL playoff history.
I think when you see John Harbaugh there last night, basically was telling us, our team, we're not too emotional for this game. You know, we're mature, and we're not bitter because we lost up here in the championship game last year either.
2nd and 8, and again, out of the backfield they go. Pierce, nice little shift to get past Arrington, and that move will pick up another first down, it appears.
Yeah, it's an excellent job. Again, this time I think Joe Flacco, he was looking down the field, but right away, if you don't come up and cover Pierce, he was going to throw it to him, and he was right on target, so he could catch it full speed going ahead.
Baltimore on the New England side of the field for the first time. Pierce cuts outside. Gregory's there, and then Dennard finishes him off. That's good for 4.
Yeah, good blocking again as you look at that offensive line. Michael Orr, you've talked about it a lot, Jim. He was the left tackle all year long. Now he moves to right tackle, where he is really, that's his spot. Because he's a good pass blocker, but he's an excellent run blocker. So now they're able to go outside to the right.
2nd and 6 from the Patriots 40. Flacco sets him up, goes deep, and it's caught at the 15 by Torrey Smith. Jumping up into the air and taking it for 25.
A perfect time to throw this. The play action fake. Now it gets the look. He throws to the backside, and that's where you should throw it. You have a strong arm against a throw it to a big wide receiver. Throw it high because you don't have
up the middle, Rice. McCourty has him down low.
You know, you said to me after Joe Flacco missed that pass up the sideline to Pittett, you said, is it easier to throw into the wind? And the answer is maybe for somebody like Joe Flacco, because now he can gauge it and feel it better. When it's downwind, sometimes, especially throwing to the outside, it can get away from you.
Now inside the 10. 2nd and 2. And Rice down to the 2. 1st and goal to go.
How about that blocking on the right side? We saw it a few times last week, even by the Houston Texans. They just lined up and ran the football to the right. Oh, nice cutoff that time by Osemele. But Yanda and Orr, excellent job of run blocking here on a couple run plays.
3 tight ends in for the Ravens. 1st and goal. Looking for Pittett. He makes the catch, but he's out of bounds. He had Hightower on him.
Don't know if I like it. No, I don't like it. First off, look where Hightower was lined up. He played the outside shoulder, and he was up against him on the line of scrimmage. So Hightower has really improved his pass coverage, his speed in the open field. That was probably a run play, and that was an option, and Joe Flacco took the throw.
They send Dixon in motion. Now they go to the ground, and it's Rice cutting outside, and Rice is in for the touchdown. He broke away from both Hightower and Mayo.
You can't always have them all blocked. Sometimes this is what makes football teams and really good offenses. Ray Rice, there's nothing there, immediately slides out to the outside and breaks the tackles. But he just gets away. Hightower, that'd have been a tough tackle. Good straight arm by Ray Rice.
We got a Patriot defender down, Patrick Chung, so we'll wait for the extra point. Patrick Chung is the second Patriot DB hurt in this first half. Aqib Talib sent to the locker room with a hamstring, and Chung shaken up. Plus they had 2 inactive for this game. Derek Martin and Malcolm Williams not dressed. Tucker for the extra point. 7-3 Baltimore. How about the move by Rice?
Well, Ray Rice might be short, but he sure isn't small. Got a lot of strength.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by IBM. Let's build a smarter planet. Visit IBM.com/smarterplanet. Chili's. More life happens here. And by the Volkswagen Passat. That's the power of German engineering.
Back here at Gillette Stadium, and Aqib Talib comes out of the Patriot locker room, heading back out.
Look at this. He's not a small corner, is he?
No, he's got size, and he's made plays. Of course, he's had some issues health-wise since being traded to New England midseason. He was out with a hip for a couple of weeks. That Baltimore offense managed only 2 first downs in the first quarter on 3 drives, and they just put together a 90-yard drive. McCourty running it out from a yard deep. And just back to the 20.
Jim, let's look at one of the key plays on that last drive. The play-action fake, well-timed call, 2nd and short, and anticipating the throw inside, the big receiver, and the defense can't react. And Ray Rice, shoot, some running backs, you got to knock the defenders down twice for him to get 10 yards. Ray Rice makes something happen right there when there was no running lane to go into.
He had 33 yards of the 90 on the drive and the touchdown. First down for New England. And that's Ridley for 3. Ball is down at the 24, 25, but a flag is out.
After the play, personal foul, number 59 of the defense, blow to the head. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Ellerby. This is the 2nd most penalized team in the league this year, second only to St. Louis.
Yeah, you can't do it. You know what John Harbaugh says about plays like this? All right, you get pushed. Okay, it's not much, but it's the action that counts. And he says, when you do things like that, you're just a selfish player. You've got to restrain. You can't make those type of mistakes. Giving New England 15 yards, not a good thing to do.
New England now at the 39. And Welker is decked by Ellerby, but holds on for 7. Yeah, John Harbaugh still talks about an unnecessary roughness personal foul penalty from that AFC Championship game against Pittsburgh 4 years ago. 2nd and 3. Ward has the first down.
Well, Jim, that last play, just when we saw Brandon Roy catching it, kind of makes me think a little bit about the Denver game last week. This Ravens defense, Peyton Manning was throwing the ball short, but they kept creeping in on the defensive side, and they really were hitting the receivers catching the football. That has an effect as the game goes on.
Bandit.
Hey, easy. Go Bandit.
First down at midfield. Ridley gets first up the middle for 7, running behind Ryan Wendell. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Cowher. Their thoughts on the first half here for the AFC Championship. And the highlights of San Francisco's win over Atlanta for the NFC title earlier today. Coming up, Verizon halftime report. And they go back-to-back plays with Ridley, and that moves the chains after a 4-yard gain.
Tom Brady, if he likes the defense he sees with the running game, what does he do? He just goes with it and goes with a quick snap. If he doesn't like, he'll stand up, alert them, and change the play. Corey Graham is going to change the play because he thought Corey Graham was going to blitz.
Over this way, over.
Ricky. 59.
First down. Over to Welker. Welker gets going inside the 20 and finally twisted down by Suggs near the 15.
Well, now we know why he changed the play. Here comes the blitz. throw over the top of it. Only one guy out there, Ed Reed, to make the tackle, and Sebastian.
Gets past the line of scrimmage, going behind Logan Mankins that time.
Well, that screenplay, what it shows everybody, why disguising your defense and don't show your hand or what you're going to do too early against quarterbacks that have complete control of their offense.
Another 8 by Ridley.
Hold on.
2nd and 2 from the 8.
81.
That Hernandez at the bottom of the screen with Shockey Brown on him. Brady sees it, goes to Hernandez. He's got the first down near the 1.
Well, you got a tight end like Hernandez. He can split out as a wide receiver. We've seen him inside Ari this game. All the shakes and moves he has.
And this defense gets set. Houston last week never was ready in these situations.
81. 4 down.
It looks like they're going to try to make Tom Brady throw the football in the end zone. Look, everybody near the 5 offensive linemen, one-on-one coverage against the 3 receivers.
First and goal. Looking for Lloyd, and it's brought it down.
Everybody standing up inside. They did a good job. Who's going to block it? It's a catch and throw. They knock it down, and also it was excellent coverage on the outside by Terry Williams.
Eligible right there, who batted it down, and Reed was rushing in after Brady. Almost got to him. 2nd and goal, and Ridley met right away, but no gain. He's hit by Arthur Jones first.
I thought they brought all those big guys in there to time the goal line offense because they were going to fake it and throw it. You know, a lot of times they go against the look. If they have big people in, they throw it. Small people, they run it. But the Ravens, that time, timed it. They were ready for the snap count. That was the key. No yards to be gained.
And now it's 3rd and goal. 11th play of the drive. Woodhead back to the backfield.
51. 4 down. 4 down.
Brady fires it. He's got it wide open. Walker for the touchdown.
Well, you knew the pass was going to the right side. Why? Because when there's late motion in this offense, that's where they're looking to get the advantage. Welker comes in motion, stacks behind Brandon Lloyd. They mix up who's got the first guy, who's got the second.
Boy, Corey Graham and Shockey Brown are really upset with one another.
Yeah,
we'll get them right after this.
Yeah, because they didn't switch it. And I'll tell you why they messed it up here when we show another replay what happened.
Welker wide open. The Patriots answer right back with a touchdown drive of their own, and Gronkowski loves it.
Let's go!
After a 90-yard drive by the Ravens, the Patriots come back with a 79-yard drive that took a little more than 5 minutes. Kostowski kicks onto the #1 kick returner in the league this year, but he's got nowhere to run as Arrington's down in a hurry. It's only a 9-yard return, and once again, Baltimore starts a series inside its own 20.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by America's Navy, a global force for good. And by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Jim Nance, Bill Sims back here in Foxborough, and Talib stays on the sidelines after that hamstring injury suffered early in this game. This actually is the best starting point of the day for Baltimore. The 14. Pierce. Dennard and Hightower both locked down that side, two rookies.
Well, let's look what happens on this touchdown. The two defensive backs, I got the inside, you got the out, but what happens, this is a play the Patriots run all the time. Who's got the, when they both go outside, it confuses the rules that the defensive backs have. That's why Wes Welker was wide open for the touchdown. They run that play almost every week too, Jim.
It works almost every time. After a loss of 1, 2nd and 11, look at Pierce showing that speed, and Mayo rises back out to the 19.
I know all the fans that hear this all the time, but they got to run the football. The Patriots are staying back on defense to stop Joe Flacco's throws down the field. So if you're going to do that, they're just daring you to run the football. The Ravens have had some success, but here's where the Patriots won it. 3rd down.
3rd and 6. Rice splits out wide right. Flacco, he's hit, and they get to him for the first time this season. Ninkovich. Again, they didn't sack him in the first meeting back in September, but they get to him tonight.
The coverage, look to the right side, the bunch. Jacoby Jones falls down, just puts the whole play, makes it a disaster. Tight coverage by the rest of the defensive backs, and then extra time allows Ninkovich, now who is a full-time rusher and not a part-time rusher and part-time linebacker.
Cook standing at the goal line. Spiral, but short on the run, Welker. And New England once again back on the Baltimore side of the field. It's the first time in 52 pass plays against Flacco the Patriots have decked him. Now, look at that advantage. When you talk about average drive start. And this one begins at the 43 on the Ravens side. And Ridley off the left side. Running behind Solder and Mankins, he has 5. This is a young man, 2nd year out of LSU. They took him in the 3rd round. They had a big decision to make. They loved him coming out of LSU, and they looked at him as equal value with a running back out of Alabama that went in the 1st round, Mark Ingram, to New Orleans.
Well, they had seen them both on tape against the same team.
Defenses, yeah.
And we said it's too much to say, hey, let's go in the 1st round, let's move back. And they got 2 running backs in that draft, Jim.
Tremendous value they found. Got the 2-minute warning with the Patriots leading it 10-7.
Well, you know, Jim, the Patriots did the right thing. They let the clock run down to the 2-minute warning, use the time up, try to score, but do not give Baltimore the football back with time if you can.
2nd and 5, and the Patriots do have all 3 timeouts. Brady's going to run with it, and of course the official got in the way. Picks up about 2.
Well, the crowd's all upset. Yeah, I think the official stopped the 50-yard gain there. Of course, I'm just kidding, but Tom Brady does the right thing. You can't see who's behind you. Once you slow down, these defensive linemen will run you down from behind, so get down and protect yourself.
3rd and 3. Woodhead stacked up and stopped the bounce a half-yard shy of the 1st. 4th and 1 coming up.
This will be interesting. Bill Belichick might let the clock run down, then maybe call a timeout and go for it on 4th down. If I was the Ravens, well, I'd let it go. I would not call timeout if I was the Ravens.
Hey, check this out. Brady on 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, 43 straight conversions on sneaks. But now as he drops back from
Woodhead's tight to the quarterback.
Yep. Oh, it's direct snap to Woodhead. And Woodhead works it for the 1st down.
As soon as you see that formation, he got tight. You got to be ready for it. It's an unusual alignment. Behind him, close. Snap it to Woodhead.
Timeout, New England.
Well, Tom Brady's trying to get the defense to look at him. Oh, look, all this stuff. And they don't recognize that Danny Woodhead is about 1 foot away from him and behind, which is the position he's never at. So they run this play a lot. It's just a little thing, Jim. Just like the fake punter, having Ryan Mallett in there just gives them a little edge and gives them 3 more downs for sure.
Well, picked up 7. And the first down at the 27. And Brady goes down the middle, incomplete in the area of Aaron Hernandez. Again, the Verizon halftime report is coming back. James Brown and the crew back in the studio. And they'll have their thoughts on the first half here. Highlights of the NFC Championship game won by the 49ers and the announcement of the 3 finalists for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award coming up on the Verizon halftime report. The 49ers on their way to their 6th Super Bowl and their first since the 1994 season. That franchise 5-0 in Super Bowl games.
Really?
2nd and 10. And Brady fires it to the end zone. He was looking for Deion Branch.
Yeah, nobody open. He fires it, Jim. It was, but he knew it was nothing there to get open. But let's watch Kruger on the outside, the best pass rusher. Going to try to overpower, and Connolly just knocks him to the ground.
I tell you, on the other end, 2 Ravens hit the ground, colliding with one another. Jimmy Smith and Ed Reed.
Well, that time Jimmy Smith, if that football was thrown on target, he was going underneath for the interception.
3rd and 10.
Really?
With 34 seconds to go in the half. Brady, pressure, throws, gets Hernandez again, and a first down at the 10. He ran away from Paul Kruger. Picks up 17 on this one. And New England's called the timeout. Kruger on Hernandez.
Well, they're trying to get to the quarterback. They make Tom Brady move, but the problem is he moved right into the best matchup on the field. Paul Kruger trying to cover Aaron Hernandez. And that's what they do sometimes. You're going to gamble to get pressure on the quarterback. You're going to get caught in situations just like that. Ray Lewis just trying to occupy a blocker as the blitz comes from the outside. Tough to blitz this New England offense and expect good things.
Branch, Welker, Lloyd, the receivers. Hernandez with 7 catches. 1st and goal at the 10.
Really?
And Brady stepping up, looks behind, and slides down at the 7. Again, they got 1 timeout. They've got 1 timeout. They hurry to the line. Brady wants to save it.
I would have called timeout because now this is going to be your last play where you'd have got 2 if you'd have called time.
And now they call timeout out of desperation at 4 seconds.
Everybody tries to save them. Manage the clock yourself when the timeouts are used. Now they have no choice but to kick the field goal, Jim. Coverage down the field was really good by that time by the Ravens. They double teamed Brandon Lloyd. Boy, Tom Brady stuck that leg up there. But right now, if you call timeout, you would have probably easily gotten 2 plays off to the end zone.
The timeout came from the sideline from Belichick, and that's a break for Baltimore now as Gostowski is out.
It's a huge break. Well, these are the situations for coaches. Game management is so crucial.
Good from 31 in the first quarter. This one from 25. And a kick by Gostowski is good. That closes out the half with a 13-7 lead.
Well, watch Tom Brady as he goes for the slide. He puts that leg up to protect himself, but you got to be careful there. That's where you'll get hurt by extending your leg.
Brady 139 yards passing. The touchdown pass to Welker.
But, you know, go back to that timeout that they did not use. It always takes in the game longer to reline up and maybe spike the ball, run the play, than it is when you practice it during the week.
Let's go down to Solomon Wilcots.
Yeah, Coach, what concerns you about the way this thing has unfolded in the first half? What do you have to do to get going?
About anything. We're down by 6. It's going to be a tough ball game, Solomon. As you know, it's going to go right down to the wire. That's the way these games are played. Done a nice job in red zone on both ends. Let's play football.
What do you tell your team at halftime?
I'll tell them to go win the football game.
All right,
thanks,
Coach.
Solomon.
Thank you. Back upstairs to you guys.
And Baltimore will receive the second half kick after deferring at the start. That's the end of the first half with the score. New England 13 and Baltimore 7. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Patriots lead it 13-7. And you can follow your favorite NFL team. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Football coming to the Ravens. Jacoby Jones ready to pounce. Had a 108-yard return against Dallas this year. Another one, 105-yard return for a touchdown against Oakland. Plus a punt return for a score. Travels only to the 11. Jones unable to get started. That's Ebner on the tackle. And that was a big moment right before the first half, and you were spot on there because it's still a one-score game.
Well, it's a big mistake. Playoff game against two football teams. You need every opportunity you could get. New England struggling against this Baltimore defense in the red zone, so they let two plays go where it could have been 4 more points.
So here comes Baltimore with its best starting point of the game.
And the Ravens got to be very happy. 13-7. The game is close. Just what they wanted.
Come out running it on first down with Rice for 1 yard. Let's get a report from Steve Tasker.
Well, I spoke to Bill Belichick coming out of halftime. He said they're really concerned, just like Phil said. They've only 1 for 3 in the red area. They've got to find a way to solve the red zone defense of Baltimore because Belichick still believes Flacco and the ability of this offense to make a big play is right there. They're worried that Flacco is going to turn this game around with 1 throw.
And Talib is not back out there as the second half begins. Their best corner. Can Flacco take advantage of it? 2nd and 9. He's got pressure and he's airing it out deep. Trying to find Smith at the 25, and there was double coverage back there. Arrington and Gregory both.
It was a blitz. Joe Flacco needed just a little more time to really launch it. Here comes the blitz off the side, and when he goes to throw the football, he gets hit. And what he's trying to do is just throw it right over the top and try to outthrow the safeties of the New England Patriots.
It has been a silent first half for Anquan Bolden. Smith with that 1 catch for 25 yards. Here's 3rd and 9. And Flacco looking for Bolden. There he is. Not sure he was touched. And he gets back on his feet. McCourty brings him down.
This was perfect. This is what you want for Anquan Bolden. This is how this offense is where it's just changed so much. When they're covered, they still throw it. Anquan Bolden, Cole is all over him, has the perfect position, but we've seen it the last 2 weeks. He can go up. He's a big receiver with great hands and can make those contested catches.
Yeah, you had Marquise Cole, as you saw. Talib on the sideline. That's Bolden's first catch, goes for 26. They continue to run it with Rice on first down, and the Patriots are jumping on it. That time with Mayo and Spikes and a loss of a couple.
Yeah, you know, and I think Bill Cowher made a good point at halftime. There's a fine line trying to, you know, establish the running game and calling plays. I talked to Jim Caldwell, the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. He even thought he was too conservative last week in the second half with Joe Flacco. You got to throw it on first down to give your quarterback some easy throws and to keep him in rhythm.
2nd and 12, right at the 50. Flacco flings it. That pass incomplete.
Are you serious?
And Francis, the rookie rusher out of Rutgers, helped influence that throw, so Flacco didn't have all the zip on it.
Well, it's not that. It's the coverage. This Dennard is really turned into something. He is all over Torrey Smith today. Little hand fighting, and that's what I've seen so far in the game. The defensive backs for New England are being more aggressive, and they're winning the battle at the line of scrimmage.
Dennard, the 7th-round pick out of Nebraska. Rookie. 3rd and 12. Lobbing it and over the head of Torrey Smith. And Talib was maybe the closest player to that football, standing on the sideline.
Well, they're getting confident, this New England defense, Jim. Just look at them. The Ravens are just coming out and standing there. So they're just letting the defensive backs beat them at the line of scrimmage. They cannot separate down the field. That's why there was nowhere for Joe Flacco to throw the football.
Cook, 5th punt. Last week, 6 of his 8 boots. We're inside the 20. Fair catch. Welker at the 9. 41-yard punt. Worst starting position of the day for Brady and the Patriots. Coming up, leading by 6. New England leads by 6. The last 6 AFC championship games have been won by the home team. While over on the NFC side, the 49ers became the 3rd straight road team to win. First down and over the Lloyd. Fallen on at that point by Kerry Williams. Gain of 7.
You know, it's a drive starter. That's what you need. New England's got about 30 of them. And we watched the Baltimore Ravens today, Jim. They don't have nothing's easy for them so far. They had one throw out in the flat that was easy. That's what you got to have. And Josh McDaniels, if it's not working physically, they'll try to beat you mentally.
Call it 2nd and 4. And there's a huge hole there, right on the handoff to Ridley, and he's got 5 and a first.
Well, when you watch it, coming inside, Fells gets the crack back, and Ryan Wendell, the center, up the field to help out. And Ridley, the one thing you've noticed, Ray Lewis, we haven't called his name so far today. He finally gets in there and gets a tackle, but Ridley doesn't hesitate, runs hard straight ahead.
This is coming off of games in which Lewis had 13 and 17 tackles in the playoffs. Another first down throw. Hernandez, and Pollard comes in and tries to lower the shoulder, and still Hernandez bounces off of it, picks up another yard or 2, gain of 5.
Well, we talked about it. Those extra yards after the catch. They're tough, but they mean a lot.
That's 8 catches for Hernandez. 2nd and 5. Wide open and caught near the 50 by Welker, and there's a flag out. Pollard's going to be flagged for it. Pollard's got a lot of history against New England. He's the one.
Personal foul. Number 24 defense. Helmet to helmet. 15-yard penalty. First down.
It's called on Corey Graham, not Pollard.
Wes Welker releases the inside. It's a little double move as he goes up the field.
I think they've got the wrong guy.
Yeah, they do. And you know, Wes Welker, such a small receiver. It's absolutely the shoulder to the head. So that's an easy call for the officials to make. But did you see that little move by Welker? He faked like he was going outside, which he does a lot. Took it up the field. The seam. Tom Brady drills it in there.
That's the 3rd personal foul penalty as Brady threatens to go long, and he does. Flinging it downfield and over the head of Hernandez in the end zone.
They were trying to fake the screen, which they throw a lot of them, and it was a good time to call it. Jim, you've even said it. When they cross, they get near the 30-yard line, they look for the shot to the end zone. They were trying to fake a screen, fool the defense, and go deep, and the Ravens had nothing to do with it. Stayed back, everybody covered.
Here's a 2nd and 10 with Woodhead. And Nata got a hold of him in a hurry. Picks up 3.
Well, it's interesting. We're in a situation in the first half where it's third down. Is it 4-down territory because you're going into the wind? Or would you continue to just play field position if you threw an incomplete pass here?
They got into about this exact same spot on the field in the first half and punted it. But this is a third down, 3rd and 7. Like I said, if they don't pick up anything, what will they do? Deion Branch in the game. 4 receivers set. And Walker out of his hands. One he should have had.
Well, they really got the defense to stop the outside throws, but Wes Welker still gets open. And it had to be a mistake by the Ravens. The corner that time came all the way inside on a look where they're supposed to have Wes Welker really double teamed there. Baltimore very lucky because of the drop.
Yep, would have been a first down by a couple of yards. And now Mesco, they will go the punting route again. From the same point on the field. Same decision from the first half. Reed, a little contact. It was hit there by Danny Aiken, the snapper, but no flag. Flacco coming back out, 13-7 New England.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Jack the Giant Slayer, in theaters everywhere March 1st. And by Honda. Things can always be better. Introducing the best Honda Civic yet.
So you take a look at our nationwide insurance Skycam here at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Zoltan Mesco, 4 for 4 punting tonight. That is, all 4 of his punts have pinned Baltimore inside the 15. Here's Flacco out of the gun on first down and throws it. Flag is out. He's trying to find Doss, and Dinner is going to be flagged for interference. Well, that was a new look on first down.
Well,
Pass interference, number 37 defense. First down.
Jim, it was a new look, but look what they're trying to do. They're trying to throw a back shoulder throw. In other words, where that is definitely holding or pass interference, where you're making Doss turn and look for the football when he's covered. Just not enough easy throws. You have to help the receivers with formation and movement a lot of times to give them some separation away from these defensive backs.
So the 15 yards puts it at the 28. And Flacco works the middle. And pass denied. Again, he was looking for Doss for the second straight play. Threw in his direction, and Arrington does the job on that one.
Yeah, he was all over. Just look at the pressure these defensive backs are putting on these receivers. They're hitting them at the line of scrimmage. It's throwing off the timing, and then they can't get back in the rhythm and then get away from the defensive backs.
Change their approach on this series. Going gun again. 2nd and 10. And this one's a hook up with Pitta for a big gain out to the 50. Good for 22.
Now, if you think there's a matchup you like in a game against the Patriots, they have really big linebackers. Now you've got Brandon Spikes. How about that move at the line of scrimmage by Dennis Pitta? A good shake at the line of scrimmage, gets wide open against the big middle linebacker.
On first down, another throw. A long ball, and there's contact, but no flag, incomplete. Arrington got tangled up with Torrey Smith.
You saw the wind blew the football back to the middle of the field because it's going a little left to right. Arrington in great position. That was a big push off by Torrey Smith, and that's just incidental tripping, nothing. Great job by Arrington.
Second and 10. Rice has it. Rice wiggles free. Rice able to make something out of nothing. Picks up 15 to the 35.
The exact play we saw against the Indianapolis Colts. You remember, Jim? They covered the screen play initially to Ray Rice to the right. and then he stops and comes back inside just like he did in the first playoff game a couple weeks ago. He knew he was covered. He gets away. Joe Flacco made a nice adjustment on the throw.
Boy, did he cut right past Steve Gregory. They've got Pearson at running back. That's Torrey Smith. Another 5 down to the 30. For an exclusive Super Bowl 47 news and offers plus details for a chance to win the ultimate Super Bowl living room prize package, text Super Bowl to 69635 or go to NFL.com/Super Bowl.
You said it right. This is a different attack now. They're just putting it in the hands of Joe Flacco.
Yeah, they've abandoned this run-first mentality. They go on the draw this time, and Pierce has the first down and scrambles to the 21.
That's what you want to do. Now you can be more deceptive when you're running the football. Spread a big defense out. The front 7, they're big. You spread them out. Now they got to react faster and in space. That's hard for them to do sometimes.
9-yard run for the rookie who left after his junior year at Temple.
Tight ends and running backs. I like those matchups.
On first down, Flacco lobs it, and he had a man there. It was Jacoby Jones, and he led him too much.
It's the same throw we saw in the first half to Dennis Pitta. When you throw down the right sideline, that is where the wind is blowing downfield and to the right. That's a nice move. The only way you're going to hit this, you're going to have to throw it on a line. And the wind is up here in the booth. It's pretty gusty.
Second and 10. And there's a hookup with Anquan Bolden for a first down. Right in front of Cole for 12.
Now they had the perfect defense on that time to stop it, Jim. They had the safety coming in for the inside route, and he was too late getting there to either knock it down or intercept the football.
First and goal. Flacco. Mayo on Pitta. Somehow was able to get the catch and gain 5.
Well, let's watch this hit. I mean, that looks really high coming across the field.
Oh,
He puts the shoulder into the chest. It's a good clean hit, Jim. As you watch it, arms wrapped around him. The shoulder was below the neck area.
second and goal. Ravens trying to take it in and take the lead. Flacco throws, got his man, Pitta for a touchdown. Pitta scored a touchdown against the Patriots in September, scored against them last year in the AFC Championship game, and he's in the end zone again tonight.
That's the matchup you want, the tight end against the safety. And it's a nice move by Pitta. Oh, it's a nice shake. We saw it earlier, and he's going against the safety. Gregory, that's a matchup inside where you can go up the field or in and out. That's awfully tough for Gregory to cover.
Boy, talking to Bill Belichick on Friday, he had high praise for Pitta. Said he was sneaky and dangerous. Boy, that new approach really worked. Flacco 6 out of 9 on the drive. 3 catches, by the way, on the drive by Pitta. He was able to get up after that wallop and score on the very next play. And Baltimore's back in front. That's an 87-yard drive by the Ravens. They had a 90-yard touchdown drive in the first half. And Dennis Pitta, third-year man out of Brigham Young University, taken in the 4th round of the 2010 draft. In fact, he was the very next selection in that draft after the Patriots took a tight end, that being Aaron Hernandez.
Well, I thought it was interesting, that drive. The Ravens, the defense, they want to control the tempo. They picked the tempo up on that last drive by letting Joe Flacco stay in the shotgun and throw it. And, hey, you just said, Joe, go out there and throw it, and let's see if we can win the game that way. What a good drive by Joe Flacco.
It really was a statement to the quarterback, wasn't it?
It was.
Go win the game.
And you know what happened? The Patriots got pretty simple on the defensive side because they got in the mode of trying to stay up with an offense that was moving faster than they're accustomed to.
Well, after 2 attempts to keep it on the tee, they'll bring...
Yeah, you have to after the second one. You got to bring somebody in to hold it.
And that will be Shockey Brown. Second-year man out of Texas. A couple of Longhorns teaming up here for the kickoff. Tucker kicking in this direction to open the game. Send it a good 5 yards through the back of the end zone, but not this time. Angles it, accordion right near the sideline. Runs into a pack at the 25. That includes Shockey Brown, who was holding off the tee. So Brady back out. We've had already 3 lead changes. Baltimore's up by 1.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by KFC. Come in today and taste why fresh is better.
And we're back here with the Ravens leading it. You see the quarterback numbers almost identical in yardage each with a touchdown throw, no picks. Brady comes out in the shotgun, sends Vereen to the left side. Welker. And Ellerby rides him down. Gain of 8 though.
When you put a running back outside of Wes Welker, the percentages of that football going towards Wes Welker, if you have a linebacker, are probably about 100%. So Wes Welker went up there and he put a little shake on Donnell Ellerby, and he was open for Tom Brady.
2nd and 2, and again they split out. Vereen.
Same look. They're going to change the defense this time, though.
Too low for Lloyd.
Well, that was a good thing it was low. And I know Tom Brady, you got to have a little respect. I've said this about these 2 corners. When you talk about them, when you talk about Kerry Williams and Corey Graham, they are competitors. And, of course, everybody is in the league, but they're not afraid. They'll go for the big play, Jim, the interception.
4 down, 99 floor.
This Baltimore defense, its coordinator, Dean Pease, longtime coach with the Patriots, was the defensive coordinator for New England 2006 to 2009.
Yeah, this defense was a wreck for the first part of the year. They finally got it straightened out.
Yeah, a lot of injuries. 3rd and 2. Wide open Woodhead got the first. He was in open space, needed 2, got 3.
Danny Woodhead comes through the middle of the line of scrimmage. Look at all the routes that are underneath.
10-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
There's a holding penalty there. So a lot of work by the Patriots to find a way to throw the football short, Jim. We heard the halftime show, Bill Cowher, Boomer, all of them talking about it. Can the Patriots throw the football down the field?
That holding penalty was on Nate Solder. So it's 3rd and 12. And incomplete.
It looked like that football got tipped.
I believe it did.
It did, yes. It was off target. And Aaron Hernandez, there you see 81 go to the field, never sees it. Trying to see if it does get hit.
It was McPhee in the area, but I'm not sure that just didn't come out awkwardly as Brady, one of his last 5, throwing into the wind. And now Mesko. Whips off the spiral to the 26 to Jacoby Jones. And he's down at the 37, so the Ravens have possession, 51-yard punt. Have possession and have the lead by 1, 3rd quarter. Trying to get to the Super Bowl down in New Orleans in 2 weeks' time to tangle with the San Francisco 49ers, who have won the NFC Championship earlier today in Atlanta.
New England struggling to get lined up.
Rice. Orioles knee touch, they say. And that was Hightower who comes up on him and drops him after the catch for a loss of 4.
Well, we've done a lot of New England games. I haven't seen many teams run these screens to the outside and have success, and probably the biggest reason why is because they see it about 10 times every day in practice. The best team in the league, of course, is the Patriots throwing those type of plays.
We saw a couple of pass rushers come in. Trevor Scott, Jermaine Cunningham, 2nd and 14. There's Flacco wide open. Torrey Smith get over to the New England side of the field at the 44.
That time he got the separation. They changed the defense up just a little, and Dennard is expecting help inside. So they got the perfect play on for that defense. An in cut by Torrey Smith.
And it goes for 23. Flacco in this quarter has 3 completions that have gone for over 20 yards. 4 on the game.
Hey, Deuce.
There's a flag out as Rice runs it on 1st down for 5.
They mistimed the snap. Could be offsides.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
Well, they love to time up the snap count, and these linebackers, and Brandon Spikes, 55, one of the best there is. And, well, it might have been Ninkovich, could have just lined up offsides. I didn't hear what number he said was there, so.
1st and 5. From the 39. Over to Rice again. That's good for 3. Next Sunday, kickoff Super Bowl week with the NFL Pro Bowl presented by McDonald's. For more info, visit NFL.com/Pro Bowl. Now they bring in Pierce.
You know, with this offense, when you do it this way, it gets the wide receivers in rhythm, gives them more chances. Now they can set up defensive backs because they can start giving them different looks, and it also tires out the pass rush.
2nd and 2 with the win. Will they take a deep shot here? Flacco does indeed. Looking down for Smith, and it's incomplete. And I believe the wind influenced that one again.
Yeah, that time Joe Flacco underthrew it, believe it or not. But how about Dennard?
That ball also sailed to the right as it, again, the wind's quartering in that direction.
That's what it does. Well, that could have been thrown up the field a few more yards. But Dennard, besides 1 or 2 plays, has been outstanding today.
33 degrees, feels like 23. Wind's hovering around 20. Third and 2. They go with Pierce. Pierce gets outside, he's got the 1st down, and gallops out of bounds at the 24.
What a set of eyes this Pierce has. I mean, that's what you got to say, because every time he right away makes the assessment that he's got to go outside and not in. That call was supposed to go between the guard and tackle. That's about the 3rd time we've seen him break out today.
Yeah, he broke away from Ninkovich, who had a blocker on him, picks up 11. Another new set of downs. And look at Pierce taking a couple of Patriots with him for 6.
Well, you got to give Jim Caldwell a lot of credit. This change of strategy and being more aggressive and taking it to the Patriots defense.
Now the Ravens had 130 yards of offense in the 1st half. They've got 136 in this quarter. 2nd and 4. And Flacco has put up again for a 1st.
It's like Steve Tasker said to us. They're so concerned and worried about some of the upfield throws. Now they're allowing a few of these plays. And the linebackers are so deep that Joe Flacco sees Pitta underneath and takes it for the first down.
This quarter, they've put the game in Flacco's hands. Flacco, who turned 28 on Wednesday, has responded. The second long drive of the quarter, and Flacco looking and finds a man. It's Bolden at the 10. Takes two Patriots to write him down at the 5.
Well, that was really nice. Nice little head bob and fake up the middle, and then his outlet receivers to the other side. Look down the middle. If it's not open, look to your left, and Anquan Bolden. Watch the little move, the play action fake. Doesn't like it, and that was a good decision not to throw it down the middle.
Flacco's thrown for 123 yards in this quarter. 30 seconds to go in the third. Got 2nd and 2 from the 5. Rice up the middle. Rice plows ahead for what appears to be a first down to close out the third. Baltimore 14, New England 13 through 3. We'll return to Foxborough after this message and a word from your local station. 1 quarter to go for the Super Bowl to be the AFC entry into Super Bowl 47. First and goal to go. Ravens putting together another impressive drive. Throwing on first and goal. Top, and Bolden has it. Touchdown, Baltimore.
Boy, this guy is something else. That's just knowing who he's throwing the football to. If that's not Anquan Bolden, he doesn't check to that call, and he doesn't throw. But Anquan Bolden is just, he's a tight end that plays wide receiver, and we talked about how his hands, and how about this? He went to Florida State Gym to be a quarterback, turned into a wide receiver, and a pretty good move by him. Way to go up and just grab the football. You've never seen bobble the football, it seems like, when he goes for the catch.
All 4 catches for Bolden coming after the intermission. After the intermission, 49 yards and a touchdown.
Jim, the defense was not fooled. They're all over it. But 220-some pounds. He's a wide receiver. If you're near him, he can go up and get through the tight coverage and just rips it out of the air. There we go. Get a little double look. The play action fake. McCourty, a big safety, is all over him. Grabbing him doesn't affect him.
Bolden told us last night that it's not often you get this opportunity twice. We left the stadium last year with a bad taste in our mouths. We relish this chance.
He said this. I said, well, what are you going to do if they're up there at the line of scrimmage challenging you all the time? He goes, well, I don't care. I'm stronger than they are, and I'll get it done. And that was a good example right there. When he's covered, you still throw it to him because he can uncover and make the catch.
So that's a 10-play drive, 63 yards, and the Ravens now starting to open up things with this offense and back-to-back touchdown drives engineered by Flacco.
Well, they put the New England defense, they made them guess what play was coming. It tires them out. They had to react instead of attacking. New England was attacking this Baltimore offense in the first half.
14 unanswered by the Ravens after trailing 13-7 at halftime. It's McCourty. McCourty shuts off one hit, but not the second. Considine is there to bring him down. Welcome, Beyonce, to the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show on CBS. Submit your photo at cbssports.com/Pepsi for a chance to be seen by millions.
Now, you heard me say how this defense struggled for a part of the year. They got their bye week. They kind of went over and repositioned some players and straightened out some of the problems they had.
First down carry by Ridley. Rumbling up ahead for about 9 behind the center, Wendell. How about that 49er victory after being down so big early?
Yeah, it was a tremendous comeback, no doubt about it. Another outstanding game by Colin Kaepernick.
380. 380. 52's the mic. 180. 180 hot.
2nd and 1. They've stopped Ridley short. Lewis in on that pile. Now that NFC game was being shown on the big screen here. When it ended, we caught John Harbaugh with this remark.
Hey, Jim, congratulations. You did it. You're a great coach. We love you.
Well, we had some good laughs last night talking to John Harbaugh about his brother Jim.
180.
3rd down and 1. Ridley able to slide past a couple of defenders, has the 1st down. Well, John Harbaugh is 15 months older than Jim. And of course they coached together, or coached against one another on Thanksgiving night a year ago, 2011, the first time two brothers ever faced each other as NFL coaches. The Ravens won that one 16-6. They still talk about it.
Yeah.
59. 380.
1st and 10. Nice catch by Lloyd. And a beautiful move to get away from Shockey Brown.
Yeah, you said it right. He caught it, and now the corner of his eye, he saw Shockey Brown, and he was able to make the move as he hit the ground. Now, I've talked about Brandon Lloyd, and really talented wide receiver, good route runner. Boy, holy nuts how that football went right between both of his arms, but stays patient and stays in the game, even though he doesn't get a lot of balls thrown his way.
Here's the handoff to Ridley. He's hit it. He's laid out. The ball is out. He was robbed by Pollard. And is recovered by the Ravens. And Ridley is flat on his back.
Yeah, he's trying to get up. They've made no signal yet.
That's Arthur Jones running off the field with the football. His brother Chandler Jones, of course, is on the Patriot side. It'll be Baltimore football, first turnover of the game. That's Ridley on the bench, who's just fumbled. Of course, turnovers are under
After
review.
reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. There was a fumble. 1st down.
The ball actually bounced off his own knee. Almost down, Phil. Look at this.
Yeah, he actually knocks it out himself, Jim, but the hit by Pollard is just so hard. You could hear it cleanly all the way up here in the booth.
And the first turnover of the game forced by the Ravens. Taken over at the New England 47. Flacco down to Smith. He's wrestled down by Harrington, but another pass play for 16. And Ridley's heading in. That was some hit by Pollard.
Some hit, he was out, that's why he fumbled. Good job by the Ravens on that 1st down. They blocked it up, it was a blitz, and they hit the wide open receiver.
Taking him inside the testament for a concussion, you have to think. 1st and 10. Flacco is ready to unload, now runs with it. And this is something Coach Belichick talked about to us on Friday. He's gotten us once a game when we played a Flacco where he escapes and rips off a good run.
Yeah, he goes, I'm not saying he's one of these mobile quarterbacks, but for 6'6", he moves around the pocket and outside the pocket very well. And that run, hey, big play.
Yeah, 14 yards.
Because you're talking about a team that has an 8-point lead, field goal range. Of course, a field goal is big here too.
First down from the 17. That's Jacoby Jones.
Well, you don't see this a whole lot. When I came in the game today, I said, okay, the weather, the circumstances, can the Baltimore Ravens throw the football down the field to make those 3 or 4 really big plays that they make every game? I didn't know if they could, but Joe Flacco, Jim Caldwell, they're showing they can throw it underneath and give themselves a chance to win too.
Bit of wide to the left. 2nd and 4. Pitt has got Arrington on him. Bolden in a slot, and they're going back to Bolden for the touchdown. They got Bolden matched up with Marquise Cole, and Bolden has his 2nd touchdown of the game.
Yeah, it's the size difference, and that's what they go for. Didn't you think when he threw it that it was going to be an overthrow? Safety in the middle, no help for Marquise Cole, and Joe Flacco sees that right away. They have mastered throwing the ball down the middle, back shoulder, let the receiver go up and get it with 2 hands and bring it down. And who better to throw it to than Anquan Bolden? Boy, Cole got his hand in there at the last second, not able to knock it out.
Extra point by Tucker is good. 21 unanswered by the Ravens in 10 minutes and 1 second. And it's now 28-13 Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Powerful answers. State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. And by Nissan. Innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow. Innovation that excites.
Joe Flacco has taken control of this game in the second half. He's hit 11 of his last 12 throws. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns on the night.
You're right. He throws it better into the wind than he does down.
It really looks that way, doesn't it? McCourty getting another chance to run one. Away from Considine. Now Shaq Brown had the angle on him. Patriots 2 scores behind here in the 4th quarter with 11 minutes to go. Bernard Pollard, the history we talked about with New England, he had the hit on Brady, blew out his knee. And then Welker, he was a member of the Texans back then in that Welker game. And then Gronkowski got hurt, injured his ankle in last year's championship game. Defending. Now tonight, he puts the jarring hit on Ridley that creates the turnover, and the Ravens took advantage of it with a touchdown a few plays later. Pass on the mark. Brandon Lloyd.
Beautiful throw, beautiful timing. Nice job by Tom Brady stepping up in the pocket. Now, this gives Paul Kruger and that pass rush a chance to get to the quarterback. A lot of obvious passing situations.
Read it.
It's to Kareem. Kareem gets his balance. He's got 9 yards, 2nd year back out of Cal, whose father Henry was drafted by the Tampa Bay Bucks in the same draft class that you were a product of. His dad drafted by Tampa in the 9th round back in '79 by the Bucks, ended up playing for BC up in the Canadian League. 2nd and 1. And that's a first down catch. Lloyd. Well, they called it incomplete. Incomplete. 3rd and 1. We're just receiving word from the Patriots that Ridley will not return after a head injury.
Hey, go boy. Come on over. Go.
Pick up the first. This kid Vereen, some impressive back. He was really hampered all his rookie year with hamstring injuries. And now that he's healthy, he's starting to make plays.
Yeah, we talked about it last week, how good a pass receiver he is. And Bill Belichick says, look, He's a 3-down running back. He can run between the tackles, can catch it, and can stay in there on 3rd down.
Quick throw over to Welker. And Welker is smashed at the 38. The second annual NFL Honors features football's biggest stars. Find out who will be the Rookie of the Year, the MVP, Walter Payton, NFL Man of the Year, and more. That's February 2nd on CBS.
Jim, do the Ravens make you pay on these short passes?
Oh, they punish you.
So many big hits.
Kerry Williams, who got Welker a little wobbly, but he stays in. 2nd and 5. Back to Vereen. And Vereen now becoming a part of the Patriot attack. Young man who had a 4.0 GPA in high school and graduated from Cal Berkeley in 3.5 years.
Yeah, pretty smart quarterback too. Tom Brady, Ray Lewis, they're all dropping back, protecting down the middle. Plenty of time left. You don't have to rush it. Take easy completions. Nobody there getting big yards.
First down to Deion Branch. And he's wrestled down by Jimmy Smith after 6. So 9 minutes to go, and Brady and the Patriots are finally getting the offense going here for really the first time in the second half.
Read it.
After Vereen drops it. He was looking upfield and saw that Ellerby was waiting.
Yeah, that defense clamped down a little that time. They put the pressure on their outside guys. And that's why there's 2 defenders are going to come into the picture pretty quickly there to hit Shane Vereen.
Third and 4.
Roger, hold up. Roger.
Pass to Welker, incomplete. And Hubbard tumbling past him and out of bounds.
Welker's tired, and in that time, Bernard Pollard, who cannot cover Welker, that's for sure, Jim. But what he does, he just beats him at the line of scrimmage.
4th and 4, and at this point, 8.5 to go. Patriots have to go for it.
Yeah, no question, you have to go for it. And if they do score, being down right now by 15 points, they'll kick the extra point. I'm almost positive about that.
Brady sliding out of the pocket and now releases it incomplete.
He could have run for it. He had it. He's out in the open. I don't think he realized he had 4 yards to go when he decided it was too late.
The Ravens take over on downs.
Well, maybe not. Haloti Ngata might have chased him down.
We're back with Baltimore at the 19-yard line. The defense having just made a stand.
Stays in the shotgun, which is, I think, is the thing to do. Stay aggressive.
Flacco ducks down. I'll go in the books as a sack. And by the way, next weekend, the PGA Tour on CBS premieres with the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines. Tiger and Phil, of course, they have glorious records there at Torrey Pines. They're both in the field, and Brandt Snedeker, the FedEx Cup champion, is the defending champion there outside of San Diego. We'll see you next weekend.
Now, I'd say stay aggressive on the offensive side, but it's up to Joe Flacco to make sure you use all the time on the clock.
Second and 11. And the pass under pressure, thrown away. Brandon spikes. He's all over Flacco.
Yeah, he's just one of the best in the NFL. He knows he's got a great feel for offense. He knows how to time the snap count of every quarterback they play against. And the offensive line, nobody even sees him. Joe Flacco, good job throwing it away.
And of course the incompletion stops the clock at 7:40. Baltimore needs to get to the 29 for a first. Ninkovich coming in. Flacco able to get away and throws it short of Bolden. A lot of people will say, why didn't they run it a little bit? Take some time off the clock, and those 2 incompletions certainly helping the Patriots' cause.
I think I might be one of those guys. But, you know, listen, they keep 2 people in the backfield. I figured, okay, they know they're going to get a certain coverage, get the extra protectors back there, but they release on the pass, and Joe Flacco, 2 hands on the football, avoids a disaster.
Morgan Cox will snap it back to Sam Cook. And Welker waits to field it near his own 40. And the wind doing havoc with that punt. It is downed at the 40 by James Ihedebo after a 41-yard punt. Ninkovich coming in on Flacco. That series lasted 1 minute for the Ravens. Back to New England.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Best Buy. And by Subway. Subway catering is fresh, easy, and affordable. Visit SubwayCatering.com.
New England with half a quarter to go. Down 28 to 13.
Read it.
Wide open. Welker breaks it down to the 22. Graham finally able to catch up to him.
This is how they get so many of their big plays. Wes Welker, once again, the double move out on the slot receiver, and Corey Graham cannot stay with him. They caught him with just 1 safety back. That was the perfect play for Wes Welker to run.
Longest play of the night for the Pats, 36 yards. Brady, ball tip in the air and intercepted. It's Ellerby who has his hands on it.
This defense, everything they teach and preach has worked for them today. They give up a lot of plays, but they stiffen up once you get near the end zone. This time that was McPhee, I think.
That
Jim.
was McPhee. McPhee was the one who batted it in the air. And how about New England tonight? 5 trips inside of Baltimore's 25. And has come away with 1 touchdown. Ellerby cradles it.
Well, he's got that cast on that right hand. That ball almost came through, but what a good job. He knew it. That's why he cradled it.
Well, they're going to take a second look at it up top on a turnover. Just double checking here that Ellerby had the clean catch of the interception. I don't think there's any doubt. And here's a New England team that had this just dominating turnover
play. The ruling on the field is confirmed. Interception.
Patriots were plus 25 in the turnover department this year versus giveaways, and you see Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens. Dick Cass in the white shirt up there too, president. Tonight the Patriots 2 down in the takeaway margin. That's Rice for 1. You keep talking about the way the Ravens are hitting the Patriots tonight, and as Baltimore boarded its plane last night to fly up here, John Harbaugh got a text from the champ, from Muhammad Ali, who visited with this team before week 1. He sent along a message, inspirational message to this team, and told them if I had wings, I would fly to New England. I'll be thinking of you guys.
Double, double, double.
Well, we said earlier they were very calm last night, not real emotional about today's game.
2nd and 9, it's Rice. And he gets tossed down about a yard short of the first. Nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Break down both conference championships tomorrow on NFL Monday QB. Phil will be there to talk about it, 6:30. Only on CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home, CBS Sports.
Joe Flacco, good solid game, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So when the opportunities were there, he took advantage of them, and it's really everything we talk about that New England offense. How about Tom Brady, 136 yards?
New England's defense needs to stop here, 3rd and 1. Rice driving ahead and chugging along, has the first.
Huge first down for the game and for this Baltimore Ravens team. Ray Rice just stays so low, Jim.
That's it.
I think that's one of the reasons why he gets it. Blocking, good block on the backside by Vontae Leach.
And Ninkovich shaken up. But that first down, just huge, as we have 4:40 remaining. Gives the Ravens a chance to, again, try to salt this away. Up the middle with Pierce for 5 more.
Well, I was wondering if New England would start using their timeouts in this situation right here. And they're going to wait a little longer. And I think Bill Belichick's going to give it one more play to see the situation before he decides to use the timeout.
Second and 5. Flacco will let that play clock go down to 4 as he goes Leach. They'll mark him just shy of the first. You've made a few references to Harbaugh's mindset coming into this game, and you know, he said to us last night, basically, he says, we're not emotional, we have no axe to grind, we're past all of that, we're mature, we're determined, and we'll see. The Patriots, they'll have to play great to beat us. That's what he told us.
Well, Bill Belichick, a little surprised, Jim, before I answer your question, that they didn't use their timeouts, but again, since it's 3rd and short, he's going to try to wait to get him in a 3-down situation and use all 3 of his timeouts. But Baltimore needed that one first down. They got it. And this one is just what iced the game.
There it is. It's Leach for the first. And I think Ray Lewis is starting to realize now he can put that retirement on hold.
You know, so many things have to come together for a football team. You and I talked about the offensive line fell into place at the start of the playoffs for the Baltimore Ravens. They got healthy on the defensive side. They got a few guys back. One of them, of course, being Ray Lewis. And, you know, you got to get hot in the NFL at the right time. The Ravens got healthy and hot at the end of the year.
First and 10. Rice trying to cut around, but McCourty, his old Rutgers teammate, is there to meet him. And here's the timeout called by New England. Look at that mark. Home record when leading at halftime. Under Belichick, 67-0 with Tom Brady. However, that 67-0 mark is going to have a blemish on it after tonight, it appears. 2:20 to go. Coming up, the Subway postgame show will have the presentation of the Lamar Hunt Trophy to the AFC champions. Plus, JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher will preview Super Bowl 47. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. Here's a 2nd and 10. Rice goes low, dives ahead for 3.
Well, Jim, we're going to go into the 2-minute warning, but the Ravens defense, they didn't get blinded by all the motions and the bells and whistles of the New England offense. They stayed in place and they just kept hitting. And to me, that was probably one of the big differences in this game.
But this is a team, you talk about adversities, you know, We saw Steve Bisciotti earlier. He became minority owner of the team in 2000 and the majority owner in 04, buying the team from Mark Modell, who died just days before the season began. Suggs was last year's NFL Defender of the Year. He was out till midseason with an Achilles injury. Then they lost Lewis mid-October to tricep injury. They had the 4th and 29 improbable win at San Diego. And of course the 70-yard improbable play to Jacoby Jones at Denver as Rice is stopped. And they changed offensive coordinators there late in the season as the Patriots take their last time out. All of these little moments that test you and test, again, the moxie of a football team. But we were there that first week of the playoffs going against Indianapolis, and we walked out of a Friday meeting at their facility and said, you know what, as you see Harbaugh come over to Flacco, they feel like they have it now. We were saying, this is a team, there is something here that is very dynamic. Well, and they are charged and ready, or as Flacco even told us, we're ready to explode.
Yes, and you know, listen, I think you need adversity on a football team. They sure had their share of it with injuries, and when they went down and got just pummeled by the Houston Texans, it made them reshape during their bye week, and then they had some struggles down at the end of the year. So they thought it would toughen them up for this playoff run, and some big plays at the right time. We're talking about one tough football team, and you talk about the Ravens.
Boy, he had pressure. And this one goes out of bounds past the 30. It's been 12 seasons since the Ravens were in the Super Bowl in their 5th year of existence. Here's, of course, some of the action that happened against the Giants. Baltimore won the game 34-7 down in Tampa. Jermaine Lewis had that 84-yard kick return for a touchdown. Ray Lewis was the MVP. There's Mr. Modell, who again passed away on September the 6th. First down, Brady works the sideline with Branch. And John Harbaugh saying, wait a minute, you're telling me that play took like 3 seconds?
Yeah, that's
exactly
what
he's not happy with the clock operator.
I don't blame him. I wouldn't have been happy either.
He gives the Patriots an extra play here. And Brady hit when he threw it. That was Nata in on the quarterback, and the 2-minute warning has arrived with the Ravens 28-13 in front. Coming up, the Subway postgame show. We'll have the presentation of the Lamar Hunt Trophy to the AFC champions, JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Cowher. We'll have the first preview, Super Bowl 47, coming up on the Subway postgame show. 2nd and 10 for Brady and the Patriots without any timeouts. And that's a first down by Welker at the 45. And he'll stop it right there.
Well, that's what you want to do. Of course, this defense, you're right, it's not over. You never know. They need, of course, 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. 1 2-point conversion, but just tackle them inbounds.
And all of this without any timeouts. With that smartly goes out of bounds. Back-to-back 12-yard plays.
If you're the Ravens, protect the sidelines. Be deep down the field, protect the sidelines. Don't let them get out of bounds.
Brady has to flip it away. Under pressure, Suggs in on him.
I think you have said, Jim, every time they play, Suggs finds a way to get a big hit or a big play against Tom Brady.
He's had some strip sacks through the years.
He's on Nate Solder on the left side. What a good jump at the snap of the football.
1:36 to go. Again deflected at the line. Might have been McPhee one more time.
Yeah, they're just going and trying to push straight. Watching Tom Brady, it's almost like what J.J. Watt does down in Houston. He just reads the quarterback when he reads his eyes and then tries to time the jump.
Well, that's two for sure. We thought he might have had another one as well. 3rd and 10.
Your whole left.
Hernandez. He fights for that first down.
Got to be careful they don't fake spike it and try to throw one down the field.
New England now with its 6th trip inside the Ravens 25. Patriots have been blanked here in the second half, 21-0.
Hard to believe. The highest scoring offense in the NFL by 100 points.
Brady throws, and he's intercepted in the end zone. Gary Williams ices it, and Baltimore is heading to New Orleans.
Playing the situation. Gary Williams plays it. The wind coming across the field. Oh, he plays it great. He lets him go by to the inside so he can't get out of bounds and then undercuts the throw.
Super Bowl 47 is going to have one of the great stories there's ever been in that game. 2 brothers on opposite sidelines.
Well, what did John Harbaugh say to us last night about his parents who would be home watching both championship games today?
Well, they've been agonizing through all of this back in their home in the outskirts of Milwaukee, watching their sons, both of whom lost on the championship Sunday last year, both win today. As Steve Bisciotti, the owner, hugs Ray Lewis, and Ray Lewis extends his career by 2 weeks. They'll be given the trophy by their senior advisor of player development, O.J. Brigance, who's a real inspirational figure to this team. The man who was on their Super Bowl team in 2000 was battling ALS. Will be in the locker room to be a part of the ceremony that's coming up. Absolute second half dominance by Baltimore. We talked at the top about same time, same place. This year, different result.
John Harbaugh said a lot of long days and a quick year, and here they are again.
Thank you. Next week this year. I'll tell them to come find me.
And how about Flacco?
Well, Joe Flacco, 3 touchdowns today, no interceptions. So many people have questioned, can he win? You know, the big game, the big moment, all the pressure was on him. You know what, Jim? They put the football in his hands there in the 3rd quarter, and he took them down twice for touchdowns, and I think he answered the question to a lot of his critics.
Tom Brady and the Patriots turned it over 3 times in that second half. You know, you've been out in front of this Flacco story and his ability for several years, and now a lot of people are going to jump on board. You never understood for several years why so many people were so critical of him, and last year he played so well here in a losing effort. And tonight just outstanding as Coach Belichick and the Patriots head inside their season over.
I'll just say this real quick about Joe Flacco. He plays in an offense that's not quarterback friendly sometimes. They make him make a lot of demanding throws, but today, especially in the second half, they gave him some underneath throws, and he took advantage of it, and really, situational football and played very well.
What a season we've had. What a season we've had. You won that game. I appreciate you.
So your Super Bowl matchup in 2 weeks' time, the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. Wow.
brothers coaching against each other in the Super Bowl, it almost doesn't seem like it's real.
2 road winners today, road warriors. Baltimore 28, New England 13, the final. Coming up next, the Subway post-game show. For Phil Simms, Steve Tasker, Solomon Wilcots. This is Jim Nance saying so long for now from Foxborough. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. We'll join James Brown in New York right after this.